it's on. There is also news in Arizona in the courts. Rudy Giuliani is pleading not guilty in the state of Arizona. The former New York mayor and 10 other Trump allies were arraigned today for allegedly conspiring to overturn the 2020 election results in that state, which had a narrower margin of victory for Biden than Georgia did. Giuliani angrily pushing back in court after prosecutors detailed how he evaded his court summons for weeks before they finally tracked him down at his 80th birthday party in Palm Beach, Florida on Friday. Sarah Murray is out front.
Rudy Giuliani making a chaotic first appearance before an Arizona judge today.
I would consider this indictment a complete embarrassment to the American legal system, but I've shown no tendency not to comply.
Giuliani, I don't want to mute you, but I need to move on.
Trump's former attorney pleading not guilty to allegations he took part in a conspiracy to try to overturn the 2020 election results in a state Joe Biden won by more than 10,000 votes.
Arizona is a state that we're looking at very, very carefully.
According to the indictment, Giuliani spread false claims of election fraud, pressured local officials to change the election outcome, and was responsible for encouraging Republican electors in Arizona and 6 other contested states. Now he faces charges in 2 states, Arizona and Georgia. Giuliani denouncing the Arizona indictment, calling it part of the
Let's see what we can do to destroy Donald Trump.
and only appearing in court after a wild goose chase to deliver his summons.
Our agents had traveled to New York City to try to serve him. We were not allowed in his building there where he lives. We stayed there for 2 days. We mailed him a letter. We made phone calls.
In the courtroom, a prosecutor highlighted Giuliani's taunts on social media as officials tried to serve him.
He had posted this on Twitter last Friday night. As you can see, it's a picture from his 80th birthday party in Palm Beach, Florida. If Arizona authorities can't find me by tomorrow morning, 1, they must dismiss the indictment. 2, they must concede they can't count votes.
Right after his 80th birthday party,
Happy birthday to you.
Giuliani was served.
I haven't been hiding from anyone.
His antics prompting a judge to order him to post a $10,000 bond.
Given his latest Twitter post and then his lie about communicating with our office, we decided it'd be appropriate to ask for some kind of release conditions to ensure his appearance in Arizona.
Also pleading not guilty today,
Christina Bob.
Bob, who's accused of lobbying Arizona's GOP legislators to disregard the popular vote in Arizona, now serves as senior counsel for election integrity for the Republican National Committee.
The arraignment went as planned, and we'll deal with the case.
9 others who served as pro-Donald Trump fake electors in Arizona also entered not guilty pleas.
Pled not guilty on all counts.
Now, it was just such an unusual day in court for what is normally a quick and uneventful proceeding. Giuliani didn't have a lawyer. He said he was fine to represent himself, although he pointed out he hadn't actually seen the indictment against him. And we did not, as you saw there, have a mugshot yet of Rudy Giuliani. The judge says he has 30 days to show up in Arizona for processing, so you would expect that we will get the mugshot from him whenever he does. Aaron?
All right, Sarah, thank you. And I want to go now to the former Republican Congressman Ken Buck, who is also a former federal prosecutor. So with both of those perspectives, Congressman Rudy Giuliani tonight pleading not guilty to helping Trump overturn the 2020 election results in Arizona, appearing in court today along with 9 of the 11 fake electors who put out the video in 2020 that I'm showing of them actually signing the document, with a false slate of electors saying that Trump won the state. How strong do you think this case is?
Well, great question. I haven't seen the evidence, I haven't heard the witnesses, but I do think that Rudy Giuliani and others knew what they did was wrong. Rudy Giuliani was a prosecutor. He was the U.S. attorney in the sort of highest U.S. attorney's office, most respected U.S. attorney's office in the country, the Southern District of New York. And as such, he knew exactly what he was doing. He was submitting a false document to the government. He knows that's a federal crime, it's a state crime, it's a forgery. He knew that was wrong. The defense seems to be this idea that under the First Amendment, they were allowed to challenge the election. The First Amendment doesn't allow you to commit a forgery. And that's in fact what was happening here. And I also think this, what the reporter was mentioning about Christina Bobb was fascinating. A senior counsel at the RNC resigns because there's this litmus test now that you have to agree that the election was stolen in 2020, and he's replaced with a criminal defendant from Arizona, Christina Bobb. I would think that the RNC could find someone who isn't a criminal defendant who could make sure that there is election integrity in the next election. Very odd choice in my mind.
And Ken, also, you know, the whole issue of Giuliani being there to begin with, right? He had evaded his court summons, and he had taunted prosecutors publicly about it. But then when it came up in court today, he tried to defend it and say that he, you know, wasn't evading anything. Here's how he put it.
I have a fair number of threats, including death threats, and I don't have security any longer since I've been a bankruptcy. So I have very, very strict rules about who gets up and who doesn't.
And obviously, the context here is they eventually found him at his 80th birthday party, and we were playing a little bit of that, right? You know, surrounded by a gaggle of people. What do you think happened here? I mean, is he lucky he wasn't arrested?
I think he's lucky he wasn't arrested. I think he was lucky he wasn't held without bond, because someone who does acts in that way is often considered a flight risk. And given who Rudy Giuliani is, I think the judge took that into account. But what a sad decline of a great reputation, a mayor who was did significant good in New York City, a prosecutor. To see him acting at that way is just sad.
All right, Congressman Bach, I appreciate your time. Thank you.
Thank you.
And next, actors.